Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Krang android body from NECA Toys. This is another one of the larger deluxe figures that was announced at last New York Toy Fair, and I was very excited about it. In fact, he might have been announced even longer than that. Well, regardless, we've known about him for a while. He's hitting stores right now. Let's jump in and check him out. So one of the things I love about this is another figure that comes in the VHS style packaging. Very similar to what we saw with Metalhead, where they kind of followed suit on the old FHE, the Family Home Entertainment VHS tapes from back when we were kids, and they created this amazing box. It says The Wrath of Krang. It uses a similar font to the old VHS tapes. We've got great artwork on there that looks like it comes straight out of the animated series, and even the NECA logo is done in the style of the old FHE logo. I love it. Look up here again. Man, that is so cool. Brings back some serious memories, right? That's like got some serious nostalgia. The back of the box again has some animation type artwork there. We've even got little what would be screenshots on the VHS box set, but instead it shows you what's included within the box here. And this is a nice Velcro window box, so we can actually open that up and we can see the android body figure inside. We've got Baby Shredder, we've got Krang, we got some photography over here on the flap. This thing is incredible, and there is so much going on in here. So let's get this box opened up and get a closer look at it. Okay, so we got our big man-baby robot outside of the packaging, and I want to start by focusing on some of the things you need to do for assembly purposes. One thing I want to point out right away is that you've got the tiny little antenna here. In fact, you have two of them in the packaging, which is really nice because that's for if you lose one, you've got a spare. So this actually does need to be plugged into the top of his head. You can see there's a little hole there, and you can press that in. It's a nice tight grip on that antenna, and it doesn't feel fragile, which is really good. One of the things I remember being a little worried about with Metalhead was that switch on his back, because it felt very fragile. The antenna on Krang here does not feel like that, so that's nice. Plus, you do have that extra one just in case you lose it or anything like that and you need to replace it. So, we've got that on there. The other thing I want to talk about now is Krang himself, because Krang is a separate figure outside of that robot suit. And I want to bring in the previously released NECA Krang. I am missing the arm tentacles because I have misplaced them somewhere. I don't know. They must be in another storage bin, so I apologize. But I wanted to specifically show you the size difference between the previously released NECA Toon Krang and this current one. The new one is much bigger in size, and he's also got a completely different look to his face. But one thing that is pretty cool about this is you can still swap the tentacle arms between the two if you want. You can see they're just on these little ball joints here, just like before. So if you wanted to mix and match the different types of tentacles between the two Krangs, you could. One place that is good is that bubble walker that came with that previous version of Krang. Because even though this new Krang is bigger, the good news is that he still fits inside of that bubble walker and actually looks really good inside of it. And you can attach his new tentacle arms to the outside of the bubble walker, just like we had before. And he works really, really well in that if you want to use him for that. And in fact, he fills it out better. He looks really good in there. On the flip side, the older Krang does not have a hole in the bottom of him like the new Krang does. So while you could put him inside of the android body, he is not going to clip on to that little spot on the inside like the new one will. So you can kind of do a little mixing and matching there, but I did definitely want to show the comparisons between them. Okay, so now that I've shown that, we got to talk about how we get this guy inside of the android body, because here's one thing, he doesn't fit through the front little window there. And it's weird because the packaging doesn't tell you how to actually put him in there. There's no included instructions. I kind of wish they would have at least thrown a little piece of paper in there, but the top part of the body is removable. It's going to be really tight, especially at first. I actually had to take a hairdryer to this the first time and kind of soften it up, just do like a low setting on there warm heat, and that really helped. It's much more hard, rigid plastic on the yellow piece in the middle here, but you will be able to get that off just like so. You can see he's got like the little nubs there on the front and the sides, which is how it attaches to these little pegs on the inside there. So we can just remove the upper body, and that allows us to actually put the Krang inside of the robot body. And this is really cool because he's got the little joysticks in there, and the joysticks will fit inside of those new tentacle arms. He actually like wraps the tentacles around the joysticks, and these are on little ball joints. In fact, they pop out rather easy, but that's a good thing, I think, because that will keep them from breaking. I say that because I already pulled Krang out of there once, and the joystick came out with him, and I got real scared because I thought I had broken it, but it turned out it was just on that little ball joint. I was able to put it right back in there, so I definitely think that was by design, which is really good, because that way we don't have to worry about them being too fragile. So Krang snaps nice and snugly on that little center column there in the middle. We can put the little joysticks on the inside so it looks like his tentacles are wrapped around it. Then we can take the upper body here and just match it up. It's a little weird, but there we go. Get it clipped on. You can see it's pretty solid once you've got it back on there. And that, my friends, finally completes the look of our Krang after we pull him out of the box. Now, the overall design of this guy is fantastic. He looks just as goofy as he does in the animated series. Looks like just a big, weird, naked robot thing, but I love it. You know, I've always loved the android body, and they did a really good job with this. Just like with the other Toon figures, he definitely has more of a matte finish with the paint deco to give him sort of that animated look. He's also got like the black outlines on a lot of those pieces there, which again, kind of looks like the animation line work. But all in all, he looks pretty good and pretty clean, though I do want to point out I've got a lot of paint chipping in the elbows. I don't know if you can really see that there on the camera, but it is chipping real bad there. Now, the plastic, luckily, is very close to the same color as the paint that they painted over there, but it's super noticeable with the way it's all flaking off. I also have some paint rub on the side of his nose up here, which is very small, but it's there. I think part of that is the downfall of the color here. It just seems like it's very easy to get nicked and dinged up, you know, and it's really chipping on those joints, which definitely seems to be a thing with these, especially the Toon figures. I've always noticed that the Toon figures have the most chipping at the joints, and I think it's that more flat paint that's doing it. I'm not entirely sure. All right, so as far as those articulation goes, it's a little different, of course, since he's got such an awkward build, but that head is ball jointed, so you can see the head looks all around, rolls all the way around there. The arms have those hinge joints so they can go outwards, forwards, backwards. They're slightly hindered by the shoulder pads, but you can see that those are soft plastic, so they're pliable there. You've got swivels at the elbow, you've got bends at the elbow, swivels at the wrist, hinges at the wrist. The waist does turn underneath the compartment where Krang is sitting. And then you got the legs on the ball joints at the thighs. So legs can go outwards, forwards, backwards, as well as slightly swivel up there. You got double joints at the knees, which are good and tight, which is good on this guy. And then the ankles can move forwards and backwards. And they can slightly move side to side, but it's not really that good of a rocker compared to some of the others we've seen in these turtle lineups. Now, balance is a little weird with this guy. First of all, I want to say he's a very solid feeling figure. I mean, there is a lot of weight with this guy. I was really kind of impressed with how heavy he feels outside of the box. But because he's got such an awkward design, he is definitely top heavy. In fact, this upper body feels so much more solid than the lower body. And he does have those much skinnier, weird looking legs. So I think it's good that the knee joints are as tight as they are because he does stand up for the most part, but as you could just see, I do find some weight issues every now and then. Like I left this guy standing on this table and I've left the room a couple times, and every time I come back, he's laying over. So he does seem to buckle under his weight, and I don't know, maybe that's just mine. Maybe my joints are a little too loose on the ankles on this one. But I do fear that that's something that you'll have to worry about, because when you have a figure that has such a heavy upper body and such small legs, especially with the feet, you always have to worry about that wearing those ankle joints out over time. So hopefully that's not too big of a factor. There's definitely some balance issues that need to be pointed out. All right, now one of the things that's so great about this guy being a deluxe figure is that he comes with a ton of accessories, like just so many accessories. So first of all, he does come with a bunch of interchangeable hands. You can see the hands he's got right now, like I've got one gripping hand and one kind of open hand. So he does come with 2 pairs of like fully open hands, and then he's got kind of the same thing for the opposite hands there, like more of a tighter grip and more of kind of a loose open hand. So you can swap those out, very similar to what we've seen on the other figures. You just pull it right out of socket there. You can put the new one on in its place. The hands do snap in very nicely, and that allows you to change up the different ways you can display the figure. But that is not all, because he comes with so many interchangeable pieces. So here we go. We've also got this axe and this crazy little buzzsaw weapon, which actually does spin. Those are nice, and they're like in a gray and blue and white color there. And again, those will fit just like with the hands. So, you know, if you pop the hands out of socket, you can replace it with the axe or the buzzsaw. The pegs are nice and tight on those, and it allows you to recreate some of the various ways that Krang has changed his hands into different weapons. On top of those, we also get 2 of these amazing Morningstar type weapons, the spiked maces that are on chains, and these are real metal chains, which is really cool. Like, they look plastic, but those are metal chains. So again, you can just kind of swap out the hands there. The peg is at the end of those chains, so you can pop that into place, and now we've got these awesome kind of Morningstar type weapons hanging from where his hands should be. Now, again, I do want to point out that that red paint does seem to chip off quite a bit, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's especially noticeable inside the sockets where the hands go, and that's not a big deal when you've got the hands plugged in because you can't see it. But when you plug in some of these other weapons, especially like the chains here, where you can see more of that area inside the socket there, you can see all those pieces of red flaked off or rubbed off paint. So yeah, definitely got to watch the paint rubbing on all of the joints on this particular figure. And then we've got these amazing little blueprints. Now, these are actual pieces of paper, so, you know, be careful not to accidentally throw these away, and, you know, it's going to be hard keeping these safe, I think, in a collection, but they're very cool. You know, so we got a tiny little blueprint here showing Krang's android body, but then I also love this one because we got the Knucklehead, which is like a classic foot soldier vehicle that we all remember from the original toy line. So I don't know, it's just really fun. I think these are really fun little extras to be included with the figure. So one of the other fun accessories that this figure comes with is Baby Shredder. This thing is amazing. So first of all, he's about 2 inches tall, maybe a little bit taller than that. In fact, I forgot to measure Krang earlier. He is almost 9 inches tall, so he's a beast of a figure. But it's really fun getting this tiny little shredder with it, and this is like a fully articulated little figure. I mean, look at that. The head's on a ball joint. We got the ball-like hinges at the shoulders on this guy. You can even move the legs forwards and backwards. This is a really fun little episode specific accessory. I believe this is from the episode with the punk frogs because there was like a fountain of youth and Shredder turned into a baby. So it's really fun just getting that little extra accessory. Always love the nods to various episodes of the cartoon. And speaking of wacky nods to the original cartoon, Krang's last set of accessories are completely ridiculous because they are just like a little shout out to one throwaway scene, a little comedy scene where Shredder called Krang on the communicator and Krang was stepping out of the shower with his android body for whatever reason. So for that, we've got a towel to wrap around his head, we've got soap on a rope to hang around his neck, and we've got this piece of felt that's supposed to be like a towel to wrap around his waist. It's basically like a fabric store piece of felt, so it's a little hard to like really wrap it around his waist. I wish that was a little bit easier, you know, but you can get that kind of tucked on there. You want to remove the antenna from the top of his head for the towel. You can put the towel up there, and then there's even like a little hole in the top so you can put the antenna back in. You can hang the soap on a rope around his neck, which I should have done before putting that towel on. But this is just totally bonkers. I don't know, like even the towel doesn't stay on very good, but I have a hard time complaining about it because this is just such a goofy set of accessories that, man, it's hilarious. I can't believe these were even included. All right, guys, it's comparison time. So I bet you guys are expecting me to show this standing alongside the giant android body from the vintage toy line, but I'm going to bamboozle you guys by standing him alongside the smaller 5-inch version. Yeah, because I always really like that figure, and also I don't know where my large android body Krang is stored at the moment, so here's this one. Just picture them very similar in design, but the other one being much bigger. But it's really interesting to look at the designs of the original toys compared to the animated stylings there. Really cool kind of seeing these side by side. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the new Krang and Android Body Deluxe figure from NECA Toys. All in all, this is a really fun one. You know, they've got some things going on with the scraping of the paint in the joints, which seems to be pretty common on these. And the balance issues, you know, because he's so top heavy. But man, he comes with so many fun accessories. He looks great. So I am really happy with this one still overall. And the good news about these is they seem to be showing up in higher stock quantities than a lot of the previous figures. You know, a lot of people are finding multiples of these at Target stores. They actually had several at my Target, which I couldn't believe, so I was really happy to grab this guy. So definitely get out there and do some hunting. Hopefully you can track one down and add them to your collection. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and until next time.